Bonjour.
Hello and welcome to So French, the show about the twists and turns, intrigues and insights to all things French.
Every 2 weeks, we select the best, most interesting and fascinating of French news stories, all brought to you from our studio in the heart of Paris. I'm Stefan de Vries.
And my name is Sara Bertilsson. And this week, the mystery of the babies born without arms, a new health scandal and a possible cover-up by authorities. We'll talk you through the story that's grappling France.
And making fun of the president can be a lucrative business. Tens of thousands of euros go to migrants and homeless people, thanks to Emmanuel Macron's best or worst quotes.
But first, united we stand, divided we fall, or I don't know. After Scotland and Catalonia, another independence referendum. This one is not as, not as covered in media, one could say, and maybe
also because it's taking part at the other side of the world.
Exactly, yeah. Probably. It's nonetheless quite important. We're saying it's taking place very far away.
Yeah, it's about the far away territories of New Caledonia. Where do you say?
Where is New Caledonia? Well, I actually have had a look quite a few times at the map to find this place. It's a French island territory in the southwestern Pacific. It's at 18,000 kilometers from Paris. Nonetheless, French. It lies off the Australian east coast and, sort of north of New
literally
Zealand.
In the middle of nowhere.
One could say, well.
Yeah.
But that also means that most French people have never visited New Caledonia and most New Caledonians have never been to the French mainland.
Yeah, incredible. And what's interesting is that according to the United Nations, this is one of just 17 colonies on the planet left. So it's technically France's last colony.
And part of the list where the UN says it should be decolonized.
Exactly. And of course, this term is politically sensitive. But this weekend, the New Caledonians, they can choose for independence or not. Are they going to become an independent country or will they stay connected to France? It is a group of islands, actually, home to about 270,000 people. 39% of them are indigenous Melanesians. They're known locally as Kanaks. And 27% are descendants of French settlers. They are called Caledonians.
Well, they're also called Kaldaks, I think. Kaldaks or Kaldaks. Yes. And the Kanaks, so the indigenous people, their part of the population is decreasing year after year. So there are fewer and fewer Kanaks as part of the main population. But so they are allowed to, on this weekend, vote on their future relationships with France. As we're recording this, of course, we don't know what the result will be. It has been looking like through the polls that most people will vote to remain French. But this is, of course, a very sensitive issue, and it has a quite bloody history, this referendum, because in the 1980s, there was quite a few people who died during clashes between the French authorities and those who wanted independence. This led to a lot of negotiations and eventually to a peace treaty, the Noméa Accords, it's called. It's from the main city, Noméa. And in these accords, there was this independence referendum set out. And so that's why they're holding it now. And we will see what's going to happen. But, those who want to remain, of course, claim that, the French connection has given them an advantage.
Yeah. It is, of course, an important strategic island because it's close to Australia and China, the new center of world power.
Which is why I think French went there from the beginning, because they were worried that there was too much British influence in that part of the world. The Brits had already colonized Australia and parts of the other islands in the area. So that's why the French went there to sort of balance the
balance of power. Yeah, they took a couple of small
but I mean,
islands.
of course, for France, of course, it was important to have some kind of base in that part of the world.
And then there's the fact that New Caledonia has a quarter of the nickel reserves, and nickel is an important part of electronics. So
all our cell phones and I think all our electronic devices have
some nickel. Yes, indeed. So so that's important. But it's strange that here in France, on the mainland, or as they call the France Métropole, there's not a lot of talk about this independence or about this referendum. Do you think the French don't really care about what's going on there?
Well, it is covered in media in one way, but I don't hear people talk about it generally in the streets or in the cafes. It's not a main topic. No, I don't think people really care, to be honest. I don't think it feels for people that if the Caledonians would vote to become an independent state, that France would actually lose a main part of its its territory or of its identity.
Yeah, and then even if they will lose it, there's still French Polynesia also in the same neighborhood, well, in the Pacific Ocean. So France will keep a presence.
Well, you do have some politicians campaigning very intensely for New Caledonia to remain French, which are Marine Le Pen, one of them, and Laurent Wauquiez, the leader of the Conservative Party, the Républicain. Both of them have been actually visiting New Caledonia ahead of this referendum and very strongly pronouncing themselves in favor of them to remain French. And Emmanuel Macron, the French president, even him, while he was a candidate to the presidency, said that he thought that New Caledonia should remain French. Now, as a president, he says it's not his job to interfere, so he has been remaining very, very neutral in this whole story.
Yeah, and as you said, the polls estimate that that a majority will vote against independence. The latest polls showed between 60 and 75%. The results will be known on Sunday, so November the 4th, around 1 p.m. At French local time. And at that moment, President Macron will give a statement on television. But it looks like Nouvelle-Calédonie will stay part of France, right?
For now.
For now.
And now, at the helmet of this French Republic, with or without New Caledonia as part of it, a very tired president, apparently. What's it all about?
Yeah, Emmanuel Macron, allegedly, he needs some rest. So the Jupiter, the god of the gods, the king of the gods, he needs some rest because he has been working too hard. Now, it's basically rumors because he decided this week to hold the Council of Ministers on Tuesday, and usually it's always on Wednesday morning. So he was able to take a couple of days of rest in Normandy, on the coast, because apparently he is very tired. And
this, I mean, and this has stirred some controversy.
Absolutely. I mean, he's young, of course, well, relatively young, only 40 years old, and he has this image of this invincible, like a Duracell rabbit going on and on.
My kids, they're exhausted come autumn break as well. And I mean, they're very energetic, most of the time. Don't we all need a break one time?
Yeah, I think in November, it's especially, it becomes cold. The days are shorter. Maybe this has to do with this as well. But the French media, they took it very seriously. They have speculated that he was very, too tired, that he was maybe too tired to continue governing. The daily newspaper Le Parisien reported that several unnamed, they're always unnamed, of course, confidants of Macron are worrying that he works so much and that he almost never sleeps. He has visibly
But wasn't this part of his strength from the beginning? That the man who never sleeps, that he needs only 4 hours of sleep. That was part of his strength, and now it's part of his weakness.
Yeah, apparently. And another person said it's a period of doubt. He's questioning everything. Well, if you turn 40, then it's time to question
life, I guess.
40 years.
But
crisis.
do you think? I mean, why is French media hitting so hard on this? Is there actually a reason to believe that the French president is exhausted? Or are they just blowing this out of proportion? It's
probably an incredibly stressful job. He's flying all around the world. We saw that also with Obama, who was a very young, energetic person when he became a president, and very quickly he got gray hair.
He had the right to take some time off, right?
Of course. But I think the French media and the French maybe in general want their father figure to watch over them 24 hours a day. And the fact that the president is also a normal person, who sometimes needs some sleep and some rest. I think they have it, they find that difficult to accept. But French media were also speculating about the fact that, he had a lot of political missteps the last couple of months, so he need to recuperate from that. And there's a lot of speculation, and one of the reasons that he was taking rest this week was also the fact that after this weekend there will be like a week full of commemorations. It will be a century ago that the First World War ended. On Sunday the 11th, there's a big ceremony in Paris with Donald Trump coming, Vladimir Putin, a lot of world leaders.
You might need to be rested for that meeting with Putin and Trump.
Absolutely. Actually, I will be there at the Arc de Triomphe on Sunday at the 11th, but nobody will probably notice me. But there will be a lot of world leaders. And he's traveling all around France in the next couple of days because of all those commemorations of World War I. So it's going to be a very hectic week. And, he was in Normandy, or he is in Normandy as we record it, with his wife in Honfleur, a nice, charming port for Parisians to spend the weekend. And he walked in the streets and he said, everything's all right, don't worry. So maybe we shouldn't.
We shouldn't.
Vous écoutez So French.
You are listening to So French.
France has launched a nationwide investigation into several cases of babies being born with missing or deformed arms, especially in rural France, where abnormal rates of deformations were detected in several regions of the country. It's a strange story that has been in the French media for the last couple of days. What do we know about the situation so far?
Yeah, this is really a story. It's a mystery, and it's sort of been grappling in French public for, as you say, some weeks now.
Yeah.
It started with about an alert regarding 7 children that were born in the same area within like a perimeter of 17 kilometers. And they were all born between 2009 and 2014, so within 5 years. And they were all born with a very specific syndrome, which is like that the arms are not developing as they should. It could be that the arm is too small, arms are too small, or that they're only half an arm. This is a very specific syndrome. Now, the Public Health France Agency, so the authority in these cases, quite quickly came to the conclusion that there was nothing strange about this at all. And they closed, they didn't actually open a proper investigation at all. So this was brought back into the light again, now recently. This very strange story came to the public attention back in early October, because there were several reports of unusually high numbers of children born with a very specific syndrome. Their arms are either not developing at all, or they are too small to what they should be normally. And they noticed that these syndromes and these, unusual numbers in 3 different regions of France, and especially in one region where you had 7 babies born within the the span of 5 years between 2009 and 2014. And they were all born in an area of a perimeter of like 17 kilometers. So it's a very limited area. And then there are two other areas as well. There's one in Brittany and one in Loire-Atlantique, which is south of Brittany. So doctors are now